Hey everybody, it's Rico, and in this video I'm going to talk about 20 reasons why Cyprus is the best country to live in, especially as an entrepreneur, and why I still live here after 7 years and I absolutely love it. So let's start right away with reason number 1, and that is Cyprus has this small island effect. Whenever I go out, even if it is just for a coffee or for a business meeting, into the mall, shopping, I always meet someone that I know or that knows me, and this creates this amazing community where no matter where you go, you feel like home. And especially as a foreigner in a new country, this is very helpful because you don't know many people yet. You are in a new country, but because the people are so welcoming here, it is very easy to create your new friends of circle, but also for business. It is very effective because people that live here in Cyprus tend to stay for a long period of time, and so you can build relationships that are rooted in the ground and that have sophistication and where you can trust and build on. And I've traveled to a lot of countries: Bali, Thailand, Dubai, Switzerland, and many other countries, you name it, and I always had this feeling that in many of those places, especially in Southeast Asia, people just stay for a short period of time. They are either on holidays or they just plan to stay for 1-2 years, which is very common in the UAE, for example. And so knowing that the people that you will meet here in Cyprus will stay in your life for a long period of time is definitely a pro for Cyprus. And this perfectly leads to number 2, which is everyone speaks English here, which makes it extremely easy to integrate into the local society. And I myself have so many local friends nowadays, Pambos, Andreas and Christoforos, that are actual Cypriots, and they help me on a day-to-day basis with certain things that I need to fix in my house, with my car, or just anything that you might need help with. Cypriots are usually the best person to ask because they usually have the connections that you need, especially living on an island. Next one is the lifestyle. It is just so relaxed here and so peaceful. Anything you want to do or have to do just works so much slower, and I'm right now in the process of moving to a new house, and I'm just waiting for someone to come to install my Wi-Fi, but it just takes way too long, especially coming from Germany where everything goes fast, and where when someone says that they come at 2 o'clock, they actually come at 2 o'clock. But here in Cyprus, you're lucky if he comes next week. But beware that this is something that you will just encounter in the beginning when you are setting yourself up or when you're moving houses, because once everything is set up, then you will not have these problems of things not getting done or fixed or repaired, whatever it is. And I call this the first impression trap, because when people come here to Cyprus for the first time and everything just maybe doesn't work as you want, they immediately get a bad impression of the country and they think that nothing works here and it's not meant to be because it doesn't work the way they want it. But what they don't realize is that they should not give up too early. Just go through this a few weeks of mess and chaos, and once you're set up and you're in your house and everything works, the lights work, the internet work, your washing machine, your fridge, everything works, then you will have no problems for many years to come, but only until you need the plumber again. Next, you can live a very healthy life here with organic food. There are a lot of organic farms that produce bananas, avocados, so many other fruits, watermelons. Bananas are very popular, and you see a lot of banana farms here in Paphos where I live, and this leads to the fact that there are also a lot of local fruit markets, which I personally use, and the fruits are amazing. But other than that, Cyprus also offers a lot of facilities and amenities when it comes to spas, for example. You can also go into a hotel, you can get yourself a membership, just use their facilities, which is usually close to the sea or even seafront. Then there are a lot of good gyms nowadays, especially in Paphos. There is a very great gym that just opened, but also in other cities they have amazing gyms. And then obviously we have the Mediterranean Sea around the island, which is the cleanest sea waters in the European Union. And I myself spend a lot of time in the sea actually. I wake up at around 6 a.m, I hop on my motorbike, I'm grabbing a Freddo espresso espresso, driving down to the harbor, jumping into the sea, going for a little walk, tanking some vitamin D from the sun, and then I'm ready for the day. And this leads to the next point, which is the country has amazing nature. We have beaches obviously, but also lakes, waterfalls, forests. The Troodos mountains are absolutely beautiful, especially now they are thriving. It is so green, everything, because there was a lot of rain this winter. There are blue lagoons in the summer where you can go to. We have blue lagoons in the Ayanapa region, but also at the Polis area, absolutely stunning in summer. And then also, of course, sunsets that are absolutely beautiful almost every single night. And if you know where to go, then you will definitely see landscapes and sceneries that are out of this world, and you just stand there and you're amazed from what beautiful nature can create. One of my best tips for hiking is actually to go at the Cape Aspro, which is this place right here. I'm showing you a picture right now when I was going there for a run, for a hike previously, and I was just amazed standing there at the cliff, looking down and seeing the water and the mountains. And especially at sunrise time, it is just like magical. And just because Cyprus has so many natural wonders, you can almost call it, there is no doubt that you will make unforgettable memories here with nature. I mean, just last year I was swimming in the sea and there was suddenly a turtle next to me. Some locals even swam with dolphins. There are cats everywhere. Wherever you walk around, even at the coastal pathways, which are beautiful by itself, you will see so many cats that are just joining you for your walk. But okay, that about it. Number 6 is the climate, because it is literally perfect. You can go outside, breathe fresh air almost all year round without getting fried alive like in some other countries. I have to admit though that July and August can be quite intense, but then you have the option to just stay at home during peak hours, turn on the AC, and you will feel quite good at home. Or you just leave the country for July and August. You go somewhere to Europe, which is what I'm doing this year. For example, I'm planning a trip to Poland, Estonia, Sweden, Germany, visiting my family once it is very hot here, and then I will come back at around September probably again, which is the perfect time to go out at any time, because I'm a very spontaneous person, and if I want to go out, I just go out. And in general, the sun, I mean, it is so healthy for you. Vitamin D, it increases your testosterone levels as a man, it balances your hormones as a woman. So as said, there are a lot of health benefits in itself when living in a warm climate like Cyprus. Next one is Cyprus offers many leisure activities, so there are a lot of fun activities that you can do here in Cyprus. No, the island is not boring, even though some people say it, but then I always say maybe it is you that is boring and not the island, because after living here for 7 years, I always find something new that I can do, and there are a lot of things that I've done so far which are amazing, which I do every summer or winter. For example, wine tastings in the mountains, in the villages, absolutely fun. Subboarding in the water, obviously also boat trips, yachting. You can charter a small boat for like 300 euros or a big yacht if you want to invite some friends. You can go hiking, obviously, Cape Aspro, but also many other places which I discuss in my other videos. There are so many beautiful beaches as well as beach bars that you can go to. You can go bicycling around Cyprus, around the coastal region. You can go with your motorbike, with your supercar, which is what I'm doing very often. I drive my McLaren around the mountains, and the streets there, when it is not busy, are just perfect to drive with my friend with his Spider RS or another friend with his Ferrari. We drive around Paphos and all the villages, and it is just so much fun to drive around with a supercar, and more about that in a minute. But then there is also the option to just get a weekend getaway in the mountains or in another city, which feels like a different place again, because every city has its own vibe. Then you can also do indoor activities, of course, like going into the mall. You can go ice skating. You could even also go to big parties here in Cyprus, especially during summer. There are quite some good DJs here. Just like this year here we will have Black Coffee, which is an international DJ, worldwide known, but there are other big names that are also here every now and then. And then in general, Cyprus has a very big coffee culture. So during the day, people mostly sit at cafes, drink a Freddo espresso, an iced latte, whatever it is. And then during the evening, people usually go to tavernas or restaurants in general and stay up very late until midnight, 1 a.m. Those are the things that people usually do here in Cyprus. But of course, if you have a very niche hobby, like let's say paddle or tennis or go-karting, you will definitely also find a community of people that do the same here. Actually, paddle is becoming more and more popular here on the island, and there are new paddle courts everywhere, left and right. I personally am not so much into paddle, but what I'm into is the next one, and that is driving supercars and bikes is extremely fun here in Cyprus. I already mentioned it a little bit, but let me go a little bit more into detail here, because if you're a car lover and you like to work on your car, you like to make it a little bit faster or louder than usual, you can do it here with a little bit more flexibility than in Central Europe, especially when it comes to motorbikes. I don't know why, but there's this thing called MOT, which gives you the permission to drive your vehicle on the public streets. But the MOT only exists for cars and doesn't exist for motorbikes at all. So you could literally have a completely custom-made motorbike and it will get the permission to drive the public streets here in Cyprus just by default, because there is no MOT for motorbikes. And when it comes to cars, it is a little bit of a gray zone, but my McLaren is very much tuned, for example, obviously not too much that it is disrespectful and like too loud, but it is quite a nice car now. And in Germany, I don't know if I could drive it around the streets, but here in Cyprus, people like it, and it gives like the kids, when they see me driving around and they just cheer and they are happy, like it gives me a smile every time I drive the car. But obviously it is mostly a weekend car. I'm not driving it as a daily to go grocery shopping. And also in 2 weeks from now, I'm invited to a racetrack in Ayanapa, somewhere over there. So I will definitely also make a video about that, meeting some other supercar owners, talking to them. So that's definitely also going to be a nice vlog. If you want to see it, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Next one is the growing entrepreneurs community, because there are more and more entrepreneurs, freelancers, digital nomads, business owners, and just families moving to Cyprus in general. And because I'm on the island for 7 years now, I just see the trend of Paphos becoming this international hub of talented people, where there are just networking events, entrepreneur meetups like my own that I'm hosting every now and then, and it just has the momentum that it needs in order to become even bigger. And I remember 6 years ago when I moved from Limassol to Paphos, and I was just like the only entrepreneur in Paphos. From my experience, there was just one co-working space and like maybe 20 people there that were there on a regular basis. But now there are at least 5 new co-working spaces that I know of. And in every cafe I go, there is someone with his MacBook or with her MacBook and working on their business, which is something I absolutely love. I mean, it makes me happy to have like-minded people around me that push me instead of drag me down. This is something I experienced in Germany. When I was working in Germany from a cafe on my MacBook many years ago, people looked at me like, what is this guy doing? Like, they got really mad. But the next point is low taxes, which is a reason, obviously, why so many entrepreneurs are here. And when it comes to the taxes, I obviously have many more videos on the channel discussing all the details, this and that. And you can also reach out to us on Tax.One if you want to get an individual consultation call. But Cyprus's official corporate tax is 15%, which can be lowered down to 3% for software and IP related income. In addition to that, Cyprus also offers one of the best non-dom regimes in the world, which exempts you as an individual from the dividend and interest income tax for the next 17 years. And so many other benefits and advantages and just support from the government for entrepreneurs, startups and businesses that make it really easy to start a business, operate it, and really lock in and focus on the business without unnecessary bureaucracy, problems from from the government or tax department, because you are literally just here in your office like I'm right now, working on your dreams, working on your vision and making things happen. And connected to this is number 11, because even though Cyprus is a low tax jurisdiction, we are still completely OECD compliant. This means that Cyprus is not grey listed, not blacklisted, and you can open up top tier bank accounts with a Cyprus tax residency. You can open up a Revolut bank account, a Wise bank account, local bank accounts, even private banking in Switzerland works with Cyprus entities. And when it comes to accounting, it is extremely flexible and easy and affordable here, where you can have a lot of different things that you are buying as a business expense, traveling as a business expense, all electrical devices, business expenses, all softwares that you buy and use, business expense. And if you have a very good accountant, you might even get things like a Rolex as a business expense, which is something that I did because it is a marketing expense, right? Me doing the video now, marketing, no, but for real, it even got audited and approved, so it actually works if you have a good accountant. Alright, let's continue with the next one, and that is that Cyprus has so many different cities, which is very cool because depending on your personality, character and your lifestyle wishes, you can just pick and choose what fits more to you. For example, I live in Paphos. I love that the city is elevated, where you have a sea view from everywhere. To me, a sea view is very important because I love watching the sunsets and I want to have like a cigar or a nice drink and just relax in the evening after a busy day. Then we have Limassol, which is like the big city lifestyle, where there are skyscrapers, much more business going on, the marina, yachts. Then we have Larnaca, which has the benefit of being close to the biggest airport in Cyprus, which is great for people that travel a lot. Then we have Ayia Napa, which is like the party place, I always call it, because this is like, it used to be like super popular, like Ibiza actually back in the days, and all the British people, all Swedish people go there to like party in summer. They also have very nice beaches like Nissi Beach, Fig Tree Beach, like super clear water. Then we also have Nicosia, which is the capital city of Cyprus, and a few more places around the bigger cities that I just mentioned. And you also have the option to live in the mountains. If you would want to be far away from everything, you could also rent something in the villages, for example. And I actually have a German friend that lives like 30 minutes into the mountains, and he absolutely loves it there. He has like his pickup truck, a motocross bike, his 2 cats, and he's just like there in his like bungalow place, super traditional, and he loves it. Oh, this actually reminded me of something that I didn't talk about earlier when I was talking about the activities here in Cyprus, and that is he actually lives close to the Mount Olympus, which is like the highest place in Cyprus. And there during January and February, and sometimes also March, you can actually go skiing because Cyprus also has snow. And there was this one day where I went with this specific German friend. We went skiing in the mountains, and the same day we drove all the way down to the beach, and we also went jet skiing. And then I remember ending up in a fine dining restaurant in Limassol, which is like the biggest city here in Cyprus, so to say. Even though Nicosia is the capital city, Limassol is like the business hub, and we ended up spending 400 euros for like 3 plates with a meal like that. But now let's continue with the next 2 points, which are rather quick, because number 13 is the geolocation of Cyprus is amazing. I mean, within just 4 hours, you can be in Central Europe, in any major city, but also in the UK, and you can even be in the UAE. And there are a lot of direct flights that go to Abu Dhabi, now even Dubai, Manchester, Berlin, Frankfurt, and many other places where you have to go to visit family or do business in. And so instead of flying 6, 7, 8 hours from the UK to Dubai, which many people do, you could just use Cyprus as like a third destination, which you combine with your business, with your tax structure, and like fly 4 hours to Cyprus, then go to Dubai after a few weeks. Get your 60 days tax residency here in Cyprus, go back to the UK. Use a Cyprus holding company or a Dubai free zone company, whatever it is very individual to you and your business. But my main point is to just pick and choose the best out of each jurisdiction. And now number 14 is the safety, because Cyprus is extremely safe. It is actually one of the safest countries in the EU. But if you Google, you will see quite some different information and data. You will actually see Iceland, which is indeed a very safe country, but you will also see Austria, for example, which is not as safe as Cyprus. And the reason for that is because most sources use the Global Peace Index as the indicator to say how safe a country is. But the problem with the Global Peace Index is that it doesn't really reflect the safety of a normal person or family living in a country. It includes things like militarization, war-related factors, external conflicts, geopolitics, what a country is doing in other countries, instability of the government, and quite some more things that obviously, of course, are important, but don't really tell you how safe it is for your kids to go out at night. I mean, if we look closer at the rating, then we see the UK at number 30 and Cyprus at 68, right next to Senegal. And now you tell me where you feel more comfortable letting your daughters go out at night, Cyprus or Senegal or UK, which is number 30. What I would actually look at are things like public safety perceptions, how safe do the citizens and residents feel in a country, then rape, sexual offenses, but also the homicide rate is very important, and Cyprus's homicide rate is 0.8 per 100,000 inhabitants. That means 1 out of 100,000 people is doing something that is actually not nice. And I would actually argue that this number is even inflated because Cyprus is such a small country compared to Germany, for example, which has 82 times the population of Cyprus. But okay, that about it. I mean, you see, for every point I could just talk so much because I'm living here for 7 years and I'm quite passionate about the topic. Let's continue with number 15, and that is that even though Cyprus is a part of the EU and the EU's agenda, whatever you want to call it, Brussels, Ursula von der Leyen, all these things, which a lot of people don't really like, and I definitely get their point, but I would argue that Cyprus is a safe haven within the EU, because even though Cyprus is a part of the EU and needs to comply to some extent, there is still a spectrum of compliance. And while some countries just blindly and naively implement whatever Brussels and the politicians say, you can also just delay decisions, you can make the processes much harder and just make it much more relaxed in actual real life than it is on paper. And I actually have two very big examples for that because I lived in Cyprus during the pandemic. I came to Cyprus before it started and I'm still unvaccinated until today. Was it a hard time? Yes, definitely. But I would argue that it would be definitely harder to stay unvaccinated in Germany. Example number 2 is the irregular migration, which also is a very big thing in Germany, where they almost have an identity conflict nowadays because they don't really know who or what they are anymore. But here in Cyprus, irregular migration declined by 86% since 2022. And even though Cypriots are very welcoming and I feel very much home here in Cyprus, the Cypriots always remain their traditions and culture, and I actually like that because I don't want to come here to Cyprus disrespectfully, living out my traditions, my culture, my religion, whatever it is. I come here as a foreigner and I respect the culture. And now it's getting interesting because I said that I'm a foreigner here, but number 16 is that Cyprus also offers the path to citizenship. And I'm right now actually in talks with a very good friend and business partner of mine, and we are learning Greek because both of us, we have satisfied the minimum amount of days that we need to stay in Cyprus in order to be eligible for the Cyprus passport by naturalization. So maybe in a few months or probably years, the way things go here, I will hold my Cyprus passport into the camera, and that's definitely gonna be very fun. I mean, I'm gonna be Cypriot then, right? Number 17 is the growing economy here in Cyprus, which combines all the things that I talked about so far, of people moving here, things going great here, having the momentum and all that. And here are a few statistics confirming that Cyprus has one of the fastest growing economy in the European Union, with the number 1 lowest inflation rate in the EU area, with an inflation rate of 0.1%, while also having the number 1 fastest growing GDP economy in the EU zone. In addition to that, Cyprus also has a budget surplus, which again confirms how great the economy is doing because of things like the tourism, the net migration of businesses and entrepreneurs, and all these people spending money here. Number 18, talking about tourists, right now as we speak, as of the time of recording this video, Cyprus actually has a little slowdown when it comes to specifically tourism, because Cyprus is in the Middle East, and some mainstream media and newspapers say that Cyprus is being attacked, and because we are close to the Middle East, it is not safe to come here, which is absolutely wrong and shows you how the mainstream media is lying to your face. And even British media company GBN published an article about me stating that I have said a lot of people hate it. Expat in Cyprus shares why people regret moving there. It's very slow and energy draining. Like what? Using my face for an anti-Cyprus news propaganda bullshit is like the worst idea ever, because I'm probably the #1 pro advocate when it comes to coming to Cyprus. But okay, I get it. Let's talk about the Middle East conflict, because yeah, we are geographically a few hundred kilometers, maybe even thousands kilometers away from where the action is actually happening. But what the media is not telling you is that Cyprus is protected by multiple military ships and fighter jets from countries like Germany, France, Greece, the UK, and many more. And all these battleships and fighters are able to intercept any possible threat that would come to Cyprus in the case of these things happening, which never happened and will not happen. And even Macron, the president of France, recently visited Cyprus, and he said that if someone were to attack Cyprus, they attack Europe. So even if something would hit Cyprus, then we will have much bigger problems anyway. Now, number 19, which is real estate in Cyprus, because the real estate market in Cyprus is absolutely thriving, because we have a real demand that is moving here to Cyprus while the supply is extremely limited. Cyprus is an island with many protected areas, building limits, and strict zoning regulations, unlike Dubai, for example, which is a desert that can be built into indefinitely. A lot of people say that properties in Cyprus are overpriced, but what these people don't get is that there are just a limited amount of properties that Cyprus will ever have, and once Cyprus is built, there won't be any more properties. I mean, where do you want to build? It's an island, first off. Secondly, we have the Troodos Mountains, which is like covering 40% of the island, where you can't build by default. Then we also have the amazing climate, the low taxes, and so many other benefits why Cyprus is amazing. And then they say that 500,000 euros for a villa with a sea view is expensive because they can get an apartment in London for that. But then you have an apartment in London with high taxes and 300 rainy days instead of 320 sunny days with low taxes. I mean, it's as simple as that. The property market is driven by supply and demand, and while the demand is 30 to 50,000 more people that come to Cyprus every single year, we only have about 2,000 to 3,000 property units every year that are being built and constructed. So it is just logical that the prices increase and increase because more and more people want these prices. This is basic macroeconomy. And sorry that I'm the one breaking it to you, but the prices will not drop anytime soon. Actually, the opposite will happen, because so much more people will come to Cyprus, the prices will increase even more. And so the people that are buying now and that are starting businesses now here and that are investing into Cyprus now and doing things here, doesn't really need to be buying a property. It can be opening a gym, opening a cafe, opening a restaurant, any local business basically. Those people will benefit from the first mover advantage, because while other countries and major cities like London, Berlin, Dubai, Bangkok, all these places already have their established businesses, brands and names, Cyprus is still very early. If someone comes to Cyprus and has at least some kind of discipline, motivation and passion, he can be the #1 cafe or restaurant on the island within the next 5 years, which is also a reason why Cyprus is so great for entrepreneurs. But alright, now we are talking about the last point, which is culture and history. Cyprus is a Christian Orthodox country and has so many beautiful churches and monasteries in the mountains and all the villages. They have their Cypriot traditions. If you go to a taverna in a very remote village like Omodos, for example, you should go to Omodos. There's a very cultural, traditional Cypriot village, and if you go to a taverna there, you will become part of the Cypriot tradition family. You will dance on the table, you will drink zivania, you will eat meze, sheftalia, moussaka, and whatever else there is. But just in general, Cyprus's history is dating back thousands of years. And if you look up Kikos Monastery, then you will know what I mean by beautiful spiritual and religious places. In the Kikos Monastery itself, you will find a golden icon, which I couldn't photograph because it is not allowed, which refers to the icon of the Virgin, while the monastery is the Holy Royal and has sheltered the icon for over 900 years. I mean, compare this to a modern place like Dubai, which didn't even exist 50 years ago. But next to the religion, we also have the spirituality, because Cyprus actually is the birthplace of Zeno of Citium. Zeno of Citium is the founder of Stoicism, and he was born in Citium, which is the ancient name of Larnaca, a city in Cyprus. And I don't know what your beliefs, tradition and religion is, but I know for a fact that since living in Cyprus, I feel so much more down to earth, connected with the planet, spiritual and also closer to God. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching the video until the very end. I appreciate every single one of you, and if you subscribe to the channel, I will see you in the next one.